warm welcome to the People's Prime Minister, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the organisers of this wonderful march. And thank you to all of you, every single one of you, that have made their way here from every part of this country. I was in Coventry on Thursday night. The main discussion was, how do you hire a coach to get to London on Saturday? And that discussion was repeated in towns and cities all over the country. And over 750,000 of us are here today in solidarity with the people of Palestine. And they said we shouldn't be marching on Remembrance Weekend. Well, I simply say this: we march in memory of all those that have died in all wars, in all conflicts. And we march today for a ceasefire to save life in Gaza as well for the future, and give a future to the Palestinian people. Suella Braverman and Rishi Sunak tried to prevent this march taking place. They tried to say that we couldn't have a demonstration in London. But to the credit of the organisers of today's fantastic march, they simply said no. Tony Benn once said, the most powerful word in politics is no. We are going to march, and we're here today, and we've asserted that right to march, to demonstrate for free speech in solidarity with people who at this very moment lives are being destroyed and they are being bombed. But the solidarity around the world is amazing. You look at the marches in Latin America, in the United States, all over Europe, in Africa and Asia, and today just got word that a ship bound for Israel was stopped from leaving in Sydney by Australian dockers and trade unionists. They heeded the call made by Palestinian trade unionists to stop the arming of Israel, which is being used to bomb people in Gaza. And so it is those acts of solidarity around the world that are so very, very important today. Now, like all of you, I'm sure you find it very, very stressful watching on television. Al Jazeera virtually live streaming from Gaza most of the time. When you see a jet flying in and bombing a hospital or homes or schools, and then you see a stream of people, not unlike the stream of us that marched here today from Hyde Park. Those people are the refugees of tomorrow. The people of Gaza are the refugees of yesterday from 1948. And if Israel gets its way, people will be driven out of the Gaza Strip southwards through the Rafah crossing into Sinai, and a new Gaza will be formed, a new place under military control, and a new place where the hopes and determination of people are constantly frustrated by the inability to move, to work, to travel, to do all the things we want to do. And then you look at the destruction that's going on and look at that solidarity. Firstly, let's send a message of solidarity to everyone all over the world who are demonstrating for the people of Palestine, including those people in Israel that are opposing Israel's occupation of the West Bank and their bombardment of Gaza. They deserve our solidarity too. And then think of the 10,000 who have died already, including 4,000 children. The teachers who've died and will never teach again. The doctors who've cared for people will never get that chance again. The poets, the writers, the engineers, the street cleaners, the taxi drivers, all those lives snuffed out. And then think of children that are dying, who will never see another summer, will never learn to music, never learn sport, never learn the joys of life. Destroyed because Israel claims its self-defense includes the bombing of schools and hospitals. We say no, absolutely no. The lives of Palestinian people come first. Therefore, a ceasefire has to be demanded. And instead of sending weapons of war to Israel, which is what is happening by the United States and by all the other countries, those, I'm glad to say, are often being frustrated by demonstrations and by action. And yesterday we were commemorating the lives of medical people, doctors and nurses, orderlies and so on, who had died in Gaza. And somebody held up a very important, very small homemade placard in respect of Britain sending warships to the Mediterranean, saying, don't send warships, send hospital ships instead to deal with the injured and those that are trying to survive. And so our demonstrations are united around the world. And when Sunak and Braverman denounce us as being part of a march of hate, the only march of hate I've seen recently is the far right trying to divide and destroy our communities. We're here together. We're every community, we're every faith, we're every religion, we're every language. We are a people who will not be divided by this, because our unity is in solidarity with people under occupation. Yes, supporting the people of Gaza today, but also supporting the people of the West Bank under occupation, supporting those that have lost their homes and their land to the settlers who are now behaving with unspeakable violence towards Palestinian families. And if I may say so, never ever forget the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians living in refugee camps in Syria, in Lebanon, in Jordan, and part of that diaspora around the world. But if nothing else, the horror story of the past months, the horror story of the bombardment and the loss of life on all sides, has united people in a growth of understanding of what this conflict is really about. And what other wars are about as well, fueled by an arms trade, fueled by greed, fueled by politicians who can't look beyond the next piece of triangulation and self-preferment. So I ask you this. Next Wednesday, our Parliament, the House of Commons, will be voting on amendments to the King's Speech debate. There are amendments down there on calling for a ceasefire. So I ask you this. You may not have ever done it before. Email your MP. Tell them, put aside your greed, put aside your cynical calculations of what advances you, what advances the arms industry, what advances somebody else, and simply say this to them: a ceasefire now in Gaza would save thousands and thousands of lives. A ceasefire now in Gaza would open up the prospect for real peace and real justice for the people of Palestine. And so those who think we are simply going to demonstrate today, all of you behind me, beside me, beyond me, and so on there, all of those that think we're simply going to go away, dream on. We are not forsaking the Palestinian people. We're not going away. We're not disappearing. Our solidarity is with them, demanding ceasefire now and peace for all of the peoples of the Middle East. Thank you for coming here today.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! London, make some noise! London, we've just had our latest recount in. Now, we can't give a final estimate on numbers because there are still people pouring in from every direction. However, our latest estimate is that there are more than 800,000 of us here today. There are more than 800,000 of us here today, and that number may be as high as 1 million people. 1 million people on the streets of London today. Making this the second largest march in British history ever. Today we have shown that the people of Britain will always stand as one with the people of Palestine.